Rare Lectures by Neville Goddard. If there is something tonight that you really want in this world, then experience in imagination what you would experience in the flesh were you to realize your goal, and then deafen your ears and blind your eyes to all that denies the reality of your assumption. Neville, 1948. Lesson 1. Consciousness is the only reality. The fourth story for tonight is taken from the last of the books attributed to Moses. If you need proof that Moses didn't write it, read this story carefully. It is found in the 34th chapter of the book of Deuteronomy. Ask any priest or rabbi who is the author of this book, and they will tell you that Moses wrote it. In the 34th chapter of the Deuteronomy, you will read of a man writing his own obituary. That is, Moses wrote this chapter. A man may sit down and write what he would like to have placed upon his tombstone. But here is a man who writes his own obituary. And then he dies and so completely rubs himself out that he defies posterity to find where he has buried himself. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord. And he buried him in the valley in the land of Moab, over against Beth Peor, but no man knoweth of his sepulchre until this day. And Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eyes was not dim, nor his natural force abated. Deut 34, 5, 6, and 7. You must this night, not tomorrow, learn the technique of writing your own obituary, and so completely die to what you are, that no man in this world can tell you where you buried the old man. If you are now ill and you become well, and I know you by reason of the fact that you are ill, where can you point and tell me you buried the sick one? If you are impoverished and borrow from every friend you have, and then suddenly you roll in wealth, where did you bury the poor man? You so completely robbed out of poverty in your mind's eye that there is nothing in this world you can point to and claim that is where I left it. A complete transformation of consciousness rubs out all evidence that anything other than this ever existed in the world. The most beautiful technique for the realizing of man's objective is given in the first verse of the 34th chapter of Deuteronomy. And Moses went up from the plains of Moab unto the mountain of Neville, to the top of Pisgah, that is over again Jericho. And the Lord showed him all of the land of Gilead unto Dan. You read that verse and say, so what? But take a concordance and look up the words. The first word, Moses, means to draw out, to rescue, to lift out, to fetch. In other words, Moses is the personification of the power in man that can draw out of man that which he seeks, for everything comes from within, not from without. You draw from within yourself that which you now want to express as something objective to yourself. You are Moses coming out of the plains of Moab. The word Moab is contraction of two Hebrew words, Mem and Ab, meaning mother, father. Your consciousness is the mother-father. There is no other cause in the world. Your I amness, your awareness is this Moab or mother-father. You are always drawing something out of it. The next word is Nebo. In your concordance, Nebo is defined as a prophecy. A prophecy is something subjective. If I say, so and so will be, it is an image in the mind. It is not yet a fact. We must wait and either prove or disprove this prophecy. In our language, Nebo is your wish, your desire. It is called a mountain because it is something that appears difficult to ascend and is therefore seemingly impossible of realization. A mountain is something bigger than you are. It towers over you. Nebo personifies that which you want to be in contrast to that which you are. The word pisca, by definition, is to contemplate. Jericho is a fragrant odor, and Gilead means the hills of witnesses. The last word is Dan, the prophet. Now, put them all together in a practical sense and see what the ancients try to tell us. As I stand here, having discovered that my consciousness is God and that I can, by simply feeling that I am what I want to be, transform myself into the likeness of that which I am assuming I am. I know now that I am all that it takes to scale this mountain. I define my objective. I do not call it Nebo. I call it my desire. Whatever I want, that is my Nebo. That is my great mountain that I am going to scale. I now begin to contemplate it, for I shall climb to the peak of Pisgah. I must contemplate my objective in such a manner that I get the reaction that satisfies. If I do not get the reaction that pleases, then Jericho is not seen, for Jericho is a fragrant odor. When I feel that I am what I want to be, I cannot suppress the joy that comes with that feeling. I must always contemplate my objective until I get the feeling of satisfaction personified as Jericho. Then I do nothing to make it visible in my world, for the hills of Gilead, meaning men, women, children, the whole vast world round about me, come bearing witness. They come to testify that I am what I have assumed myself to be and am sustaining within myself. When my world conforms to my assumption, the prophecy is fulfilled. If I now know what I want to be and assume that I am it and walk as though I were, I become it, and becoming it so completely die to my former concept of self that I cannot point to any place in this world and say, that is where my former self is buried. I so completely died that I defy posterity to ever find where I buried my old self. There must be someone in this room who will so completely transform himself in this world that his close immediate circle of friends will not recognize him. For 10 years, I was a dancer, dancing in Broadway shows, in vaudeville, nightclubs, and in Europe. There was a time in my life when I thought I could not live without certain friends in my world. I would spread a table every night after the theater, and we would all dine well. I thought I could never live without them. Now I confess I couldn't live with them. We have nothing in common today. When we meet, we do not purposely walk on the opposite side of the street, but it is almost a cold meeting because we have nothing to discuss. I so died to that life that as I meet these people, they cannot even talk of the old times. But there are people living today who are still living in that state, getting poorer and poorer. They always like to talk about the old times. They never buried that man at all. He is very much alive within their world. Moses was 120 years, a full wonderful age as 120 indicates. 1 plus 2 plus 0 equals 3. The numerical symbol of expression. I am fully conscious of my expression. My eyes are undimmed, and the natural functions of my body are not abated. I am fully conscious of being what I do not want to be. But knowing this law by which a man transforms himself, I assume that I am what I want to be and walk into the assumption that it is done. In becoming it, the old man dies and all that was related to that former concept of self dies with. You cannot take any part of the old man into the new man. You cannot put new wine in old bottles or new patches on old garments. You must be a new being completely. As you assume that you are what you want to be, you do not need assistance of another to make it so. Neither do you need the assistance of anyone to bury the old man for you. Let the dead bury the dead. Do not even look back, for no man having put his hand to the plow and then looking back is fit for the kingdom of heaven. Do not ask yourself how the things is going to be. It doesn't matter if your reason denies it. It doesn't matter if all the world round about you denies it. You do not have to bury the old. Let the dead bury the dead. You will so bury the past by remaining faithful to your new concept of self that you will defy the whole vast future to find where you buried it. To this day, no man in all of Israel have discovered the sepulchre of Moses. These are the 4 stories I promised you tonight. You must apply them every day of your life. Thank you for joining me on this transformative journey. As you continue on your path, I extend my sincerest wishes for your growth and fulfillment. I trust that you will subscribe and like the video. Goodbye for now.